Let's do a quick follow-up on your 4 homework problems. I'm going to go over number 2 and probably number 3. Will that be helpful? So if we want to plot the point negative 270, well, we have to first rotate to 70. Okay, now 70 is not going to be one of the lines that's specifically on here because, well, the lines are all by 15 degrees. But I can get pretty close. 70 is going to be right around this line here because 75 is that line. So again, 70 is going to be right beside it. All right, we get the idea. That's 70 degrees. But since it's negative 2, I'm going to have to go backwards on 70 degrees. What that really means, I'm going to have to go to the opposite side. And, well, that's going to cause me to ultimately plot my point right here. Okay, I only went 2 circles out, but still I'm on the opposite side of 70. Now, that's the point, but of course, the next objective here is to see if we can come up with other ways to rotate to that point. Now, don't forget about what I like to call sort of the main way. That is a good old positive rotation, you know, starting at 0 degrees and rotating around to that red point. That's the one that's going to use a positive 2. And, well, we're going to have to do a little thinking here about the angle that, that gets us to that point. Now, the little bit of thinking involves realizing that that 70 degrees that we found is, of course, right here, and that 70 degrees is going to transfer, because of some simple geometry, it's going to transfer over to here. Okay, we call those vertical angles from geometry class, but the bottom line is 70 degrees can help us as we rotate 70 degrees past 180. Okay, so we have to do a little bit of simple math. 180 plus 70, well, I'm pretty sure we're going to be at 250. Okay, so I had to use 70 degrees, but sort of transferred over to the other side. What else? How else can I rotate to that point? I don't want to completely erase that point, but how else can I rotate to that point? Well, I can think about rotating backwards. Just a straight up rotate backwards from 0 degrees over here. And, you know, it's still going to be a positive 2 because I'm rotating to the actual side that the point's located on. But again, I got to do a little thinking about angles. You know, if it was me, I probably would be doing some thinking that 20 degrees is actually this little sliver, and that 20 degrees is going to transfer over here. But since I'm rotating in a negative manner, that just means I'm 20 degrees past negative 90. 20 degrees past negative 90 is negative 210, and that would be this blue angle right here. Okay, now there's 2 more angles, or I should say there's 2 more ways to describe that point, which are going to use, of course, some different angles. Let's use the one that has a negative 2, 70. That was what was given to us, so we can kind of just fill that in. Remember, that was the one where I rotated, obviously, to 70 degrees and then just went to the opposite side. But the other one is the one where I'm going to rotate to the opposite side again, but I'm going to rotate backwards to the opposite side. Okay, now be careful. Don't tell me that that's 70 again. Again, it's a negative rotation. So it's past negative 90, it's past negative 180, it's past negative 270. In fact, how far past negative 270? Well, you can use that 20 degrees again. You know, that little sliver that we determined right here. So I went 20 degrees in the negative past 270, and that green angle then ends up being negative 290. Since I'm on the opposite side, I'm going to use a negative 2. All 4 of these colored angles, or points, excuse me, all 4 of these colored points are going to take me to the same red point, which is the original point of negative 2, 70. Let's do number 3. What do you think? Can we do it maybe a little more quickly? I'm going to rotate negative 230. Okay, again, with negative rotations, you have to kind of reprogram your brain to be thinking these values. I believe, if I'm just going to rotate negative 230, then I'm just going to straight up rotate backwards. That's past negative 90, past negative 180. How far past, right? Well, 50 degrees past. So 50 degrees past negative 180 is negative 230. Yeah, 50 degrees past, and that'll put me in that spot right there at negative 230. Okay, now I'm going to count 5 circles out. I don't really have 5 circles on this graph, but we can make it work. We'll just pretend that we're 5 circles out, and we'll plot our point. What I'm really concerned about is that you realize that there's 3 other ways to write that value. And here we go. One of them is just using the regular positive rotation. So I'm going to rotate in a positive manner from 0. Okay, now we have to do a little thinking about, what I like to call a reference angle. I believe that this sliver right here we decided is 50. So that means I'm 50 degrees shy of a half rotation. 50 degrees shy of a half rotation is known as 130. So we're going to have 5 comma 130. Okay, how else can we get to this point? That's right, we can rotate on the opposite side. Now, the opposite side is actually going to be back here, so we want to kind of be thinking about ways that we can rotate to that purple line. Oops, maybe I shouldn't have gotten rid of that 50. That 50 can maybe be a helpful number, because remember that 50 is going to transfer over here to this side. But how can I rotate to that purple line, right? One of the rotations is just a big old positive rotation. I didn't rotate the whole way 360, did I? I'm 50 degrees shy of 360. So I like using that idea of being 50 degrees shy of 360 to get me to 310. Now notice I use -5 because I'm on the opposite side. And, there's one more way to rotate here to this opposite side. And we've been doing that in green, but it's actually just going to be this sliver that we've already used. It's going to be 50 degrees, of course, in a negative way. So we use -50. And again, I'm on the opposite side of where I want to be, so that's why I'm using a -5 for my R value.